Hello, boleh dengar ke? Can you guys hear me? Hi. Wait a second, yeah. I am trying to figure out some few stuff. I couldn't find a comment over here. Can you guys hear me clearly? Okay, cool. So I think alright, so I'm just gonna start on live. Okay. Let me just tone down a bit of the audio. Let me know if it's too slow or if it's like too loud. I'm sorry for some hiccups in the beginning of this live. Honestly, this is not something that I do regularly on Facebook. Normally, I just streaming on the other platform. Just trying to. Okay, it's clear. So the audio, my voice is clear, and then how about the audio? Is it too low or too loud? I am still looking at the. Oh, now I can find the comment section. I'm sorry, I couldn't see this. Okay. Hi Amy. Hi Saful. Hi Shafiq. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope the audio of the background is not too loud, and I hope it's just nice, and I hope you guys can hear my voice clearly for tonight's punya workshop. Thank you so much for having me. I know Salam Ramadan. Hai, salam betul. I know this is like the first, kita dah masuk Maghrib tadi, as our first Ramadan. Alhamdulillah. Salam berpuasa everyone. And I know maybe some of you already like went for Tarawih or still in Tarawih. So should be malam ni adalah our first Tarawih lah technically. So and of course I really appreciate those who tune in for tonight's session. It's okay, it's just like for we're gonna do this kind of like a weekly workshop thingy, so just like for once in a week kind of, so you guys can always all of us can always like go for our Tarawih. So I really appreciate those who tune in for tonight punya session workshop, and also hope to see you guys in my next session in the upcoming weeks. So a little bit of introduction sedikit lah about me. One thing first, I want to do some check up first. Hopefully you guys can hear me, and I believe you guys say that you guys can listen and hear me very clearly. And also, can you guys see my screen? And hopefully your screen is with a full resolution, tak ada pecah-pecah ke or blur. So I just want to check if it's blurred to everyone, so maybe it's from my side. If it's just blurred to only one of you, so maybe it's from your side. So can I check if my screen is clear or slightly blur, or if we have any internet connection or hiccups over here? Can I check on that, please? Can anyone respond and tell me if you can see my screen clearly or not? Okay. All right. It's now a little bit quiet without the music and the background. Let me just like change the music a bit. It's too. Let me go with this. Yeah, let's go with this one. Screen okay. Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much. All right. So just gonna show you a little bit of introduction on what we're gonna do tonight. So hopefully you guys can see my screen. I just did some new screen je lah kan. Just a simple screen about so for today's workshop, for tonight's workshop, we're gonna do some getting started in Lightroom. So hopefully you guys who join my live session today will be someone who into photography or maybe used to using Lightroom, still using, or maybe you guys never used before, wanted to learn how to use the Lightroom, and also you guys maybe some of you just not a photographer but just minat on edit some photos, so you guys maybe want to learn a few apps or like one of the apps that we have in this market on how can we edit photo. Okay, a little bit of introduction about Lightroom, but before that let me just introduce myself. So my name is Najiyah Najla. Oh, I didn't move my name over here, but you can see my name on my screen already, right? And also my face. So my name is Najiyah Najla. You guys can call me Naj, and I am Adobe certified expert and also instructor. I'm also a freelancer, videographer, graphic designer, photographer. So I have my own company where I do and provide services, shooting events, corporate, all of that lah. Okay, but mainly right now I'm teaching most of the time. So I have my own weekly webinar. I also have my own workshop. Also I have my own certification training. So any of you guys, if you guys are interested to learn and also take Adobe certified associate or professionals, you guys can also let me know, because I also provide those kind of trainings, so for professionals or for corporates. All right. So, and of course, if you guys want to know more about me, I also put some of the, like, you guys can find me on my Instagram or my Twitter, but I think I really active on my Instagram, so you guys can find me on and also reach me out over there lah. So that will be, if you guys look on the screen, you guys can see that small tiny icon over there on the I think on your screen right at the bottom. Then you can see my my name and my handle for my Instagram and also my Twitter. Okay, so okay. All right, so I can see, hi Jerry, hi Azura. Azura is one of my friend as well. I'm really glad to see her here. I've seen her a few times in my webinar and also my workshop. Thank you so much for joining. Hi Jerry, thank you so much for joining. Okay, I think without we waste more time, let's just jump right into what we should be able to learn, or hopefully we can cater all of this in this 1 hour. I know 1 hour is actually a short session, but I will try my best to make it comprehensively entertaining, and at the same time hopefully you guys can enjoy the stream and learn a few stuff over here. Okay. All right, so we can see more people coming in. We have MA Garage, and also we have Riyad Muhammad. Thank you so much for joining. So for this workshop, I actually divided some of the section. I have like 6 sections, but I hope we can cover most of it. And of course, first we're going to like go for touring interface about Lightroom. So if you guys didn't know, Lightroom is one of the Adobe product. It's a part of Adobe product. We have like 20 plus application under Adobe. So if you guys familiar with the name, it is mentioned as Adobe. It's not Adobe. I know most of us pronounce it as Adobe, and it is forgiven, I would say, because I was also that kind of that type of people who mentioned also called it Adobe, but the right pronunciation for it is Adobe. Okay, tapi tak kisah mana pun Adobe ke Adobe sama je. I think everyone knows what it is lah. Okay, so Lightroom is part of the Adobe software. So we have a few Lightroom actually. Some of you guys might be macam confused with Lightroom. Banyak sangat lah. Actually we have like 3 types of Lightroom. Okay, so we have Lightroom Classic, we call it, di mana Lightroom Classic specifically for desktop. That one it called classic because that will be the first Lightroom yang macam asal-asal lah. Tapi actually Lightroom sometimes people also consider as Adobe Photoshop Lightroom because I think it's part of Photoshop used to. I think I'm not really sure. I didn't really dig up on the history yet. However, and then we have, so that's the first one lah, Lightroom Classic, which is for desktop. And then recently, I think few years ago, I think that was like 2 years ago if I'm not mistaken, Adobe released another version which is Adobe Lightroom CC. Okay, Adobe Lightroom CC, which is actually, we have two versions. Satu untuk desktop and then also we have one more for mobile. Okay. So what we're gonna learn today, I'm not gonna touch on classic, but I'm gonna touch on Lightroom CC. Maybe some of you will see some of the familiar or similarity between Lightroom CC and also Lightroom Classic, because actually Lightroom Classic has like more features, I would say more intuitive features and also more compact features for photographers who like to work with a lot of images. Example, you have batch processing, you have thousands of images, you want to like edit the image in one click, something like that. But of course, you can also do that in CC. Cuma for the Classic, you have more features that you can play with lah compared to Lightroom CC. So Lightroom CC is like a simplified version of Lightroom Classic, okay? And also whatever that you can see that you have in Lightroom CC desktop, you also gonna have it in Lightroom CC mobile ataupun Lightroom mobile. Dia benda sama, cuma daripada desktop punya sizing that you guys can see, you guys dia macam just translate back into mobile size. But features is sama, whatever that you guys synchronize, apa yang kita masukkan, whatever that you guys import into Lightroom CC, you guys buka or download your Lightroom into mobile, you guys also can see the same pictures. So one thing about Adobe, it is very centric, such as user and also ataupun profile centric, di mana whenever you download install any Adobe software, you guys will be using one Adobe profile punya profile punya sign in lah. So you guys will have one profile lah, which is under Adobe itself. So that profile, whenever you sign in into Adobe ke Photoshop ke Illustrator ke, you guys will be using just one profile. So that profile will store all of the information of you, of your licensing, of your subscription if you guys subscribe to it, and also will store will carry all of your assets, because CC stands for Creative Cloud, where whenever you subscribe to Adobe, they will give you like 100 GB of cloud storage, or maybe 10 GB, 20 GB, depends on your package that you guys take. Okay, so I want to go back to that profile because, example, if you sign in your Lightroom CC using your one profile just now, so bila you buka your Lightroom CC on example on desktop, and then you buka balik inside of your Lightroom dalam mobile, they will also synchronize benda yang sama because you guys sign in using the same profile. But if you guys contoh dekat desktop CC, Lightroom CC desktop you pakai profile lain, email lain, example, a different Adobe ID, and then inside of your mobile you guys using different ID, dia takkan dapat synchronize all of your images lah, because it considered as separate profile. Okay, understand? Wah, cat behind me. Okay, that's actually my son. If you guys can see him, just ignore him, I guess. I hope he didn't jump during my live. I mean they did a few times, but I hope they will not do that tonight. Okay, so that will be the first one. I just introduced to you about the Lightroom, the significance, the difference between few versions of Lightroom, and then we're gonna get started with the Lightroom CC. So for tonight, I'm gonna touch on Lightroom CC lah technically, but Lightroom CC not Lightroom CC for the desktop punya version, not mobile punya version. So when you see my layout later, so it's actually in a desktop lah. Okay. But if you guys contoh tak ada tak download ke atau tak guna Lightroom CC desktop, you guys can also see that from your mobile. Sebab maybe actually the buttons, the features are all the same. It's just the layout slightly different. So the position of your tools, the position of your buttons maybe slightly different from the desktop punya layout. That's all. But everything should be sama je. dengan Lightroom CC desktop dan juga mobile. So you guys can use your punya phone and see and check it out if you guys want to follow this workshop. Okay, and then next we're gonna learn on how can we improve some of the photos. I don't know why I keep on pressing that. We can inside of the Lightroom, you guys are like discover what do we have inside, how can we adjust your lightings, not lightings like lightings, I mean adjust your exposure, I would say, the brightness of your images, the darkness of your images, all of that. And then we also have presets in Lightroom, so hopefully you guys will be excited to learn about the preset thingy. And of course we're gonna try to edit few images lah, and also at the end sharing and saving your images, and then so that you can post it on your Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and the rest. Okay, all right, so we can see more people coming in. Hi. Kedo, that's not Kedo Azura, that was actually LJ, the little brother. Kedo is actually over there sleeping. I don't know why he sleep all day tonight. Today. So I can see more people here. I think we have Sharafi joining us, Hazik Muhammad joining us. Thank you so much for joining me, and all of us. Okay, so let's jump into the Lightroom. So I'm just going to close this, what do we call this? See, this is Kedo. This is actually for mobile editing, so I'm not gonna jump into it. So I'm just gonna jump direct into Lightroom CC. So if you guys have Lightroom CC, you guys can open your Lightroom CC. If you don't have it, just enjoy this workshop. Okay, all right. Okay, so this, once you guys download the Lightroom CC, it's going to open this kind of like page lah for you, and of course they will give you like a welcoming screen, saying that, oh, you're like, welcome to the Lightroom community. So over here you guys can always connect with other photographers, other photo editors around the world, actually not just within Malaysia. So Adobe is actually a very huge community. When I was like doing live on Behance and stuff, I always connect with people all over the world. So it's actually quite cool to see that and to have, and also to get to know all of that people and connect with all of the creatives around the world. So over here also inside this Lightroom CC also we have this one part where you guys can also interact and see other photographers work or other people editing's work over here. Okay, so if you guys just click if you open you can see over here on my right side, I already signed up or signed in using my own ID, so you can see that's my name. And then all of this has been synchronized with all of my images that I have, also from my mobile and also from my desktop as well. So technically some of it I am synchronized, some of it I not synchronized, but it's very easy because, example, if I have internet connection right now that I connect with my Wi-Fi at my place, and also I have my phone next to me that also connected with the same Wi-Fi, whatever that I do over here, it will automatically synchronizing it real-timely, I would say, because both of my machine, my PC and also my mobile, which is my phone, connect with the same Wi-Fi, which is the same network. So bila I active like synchronization, as you can see on the right side ada tanda cloud, awan tu, that cloud meaning cloud storage lah. Okay, so when I do some changes, I add any photo over here, nanti you guys will see the cloud akan berpusing, showcasing that it is synchronizing at the back. So bila I buka my phone right now juga, I can see the images that I just added on into Lightroom CC over here, dia terus masuk in my mobile. So it's very real time, because as long as you guys connect with the same network, and of course lah kalau your internet laju, your network laju, even though you input image yang besar, raw files ke, JPEG file ke, really huge images, it wouldn't be any problem. Okay, alright, so that of course you sign in using this one, and then I'm just gonna go through these few tabs that we have for you over here. Let me just check, what do I have here? Okay, so for you, they're gonna give you like all of my daily inspirations, like maybe some of the images that I might be interested. I would say I have no idea how they recommend this, based on what, because technically I don't really post any of my images in the community page. I just post it on my Instagram, on my website, but I guess they just randomly pick some of your images. I don't know. they just like randomly algorithmically just showcase any images. And down there you guys can see we have a lot of categories. So kalau you guys someone who like to travel, just pick on that travel punya blog category, and then you guys can see the images that has been submitted by all of the photographers around the world. And of course you guys can submit your own edit over here, apply their preset, and then technically this thing is like macam you can submit your images and you can see how they edit their image. This is like before and after. So if you guys click over here, okay, let's just read. Okay, so you guys not just able to see the image, but also to see what kind of adjustment that the photographer did and also applied to their photos. So technically, under this tab, which is under Discover punya tab, you guys can learn and discover and get to know how people edit photos around the world. So you guys can see this person, they are using DNG, is actually one of the raw format, and then you can see crop. In terms of crop, they didn't crop the photo from the original images. They are using profile of the image, which is under per raw photo, and then they did some exposure settings, contrast, blah blah, all of this lah, sliders. Okay, so technically maybe some of you still new or just like try to pick up about all of these settings, understanding all of these. You guys can see the example ataupun the sample images that has been submitted by other photographers on this side. So sometimes I would just like to look and say, oh, I love this color, so I just want to see what kind of adjustment that they did. So I can always click on that image and see this adjustment. This actually like macam or has been recorded by the Lightroom itself. An example, oh, I like this image, can I have the same color, can I have the same adjustment? I can actually save it as a preset for my own usage. Okay, or you can't really see the preset button on this left side because of my big face over there. Let me just adjust. Okay, so can you see the save preset over here? Yes. So if you click over there and then tarik lagi. Okay, so I can rename it. Maybe I just want to rename the preset based on the photographer itself. I don't want to like, you know, steal without credit that person. Not stealing, it's just like they give it like they give like for free or for people to use. But instead of like rename it and then, you know, change, I'm just gonna stick to the creator of the preset itself. So I can save in, I have a lot of preset that I created on my own. Maybe I want to create a new group of preset. Maybe this group gonna be like creators preset, I would say that, so that I know whenever I saw or like found any cool preset, I'm just gonna click over here and then save here. So kiranya creator preset or all preset yang bukan I buat tapi other people punya creation, but I feel like, oh, maybe I want to use into some of my photos. So I'm just gonna click create and save over there. So tarik balik ke sini. Okay, go to some reposition. Okay, so when I go back, okay, so here you guys can discover there's a lot of images. Oh, I like this one. I like this one as well. This is actually quite new because before the first version of CC they don't really have this, but until now they keep on adding, and there are more people keep on contributing to this community to give a lot of edits images. So maybe you guys can be one of it. Maybe I need to send or submit one of my photos of it. This might be interesting. And new will be, they're gonna show you all of the images as well that just got in, and also following, you can also follow people. I think we have also Peter McKinnon over here if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, okay, so enough under discovery, and of course under learn you guys can learn a lot of things about the Lightroom. So here actually people do some adjustment and also teach you on how to edit their images. So we have like beginner level, intermediate level, advanced level, and how to edit colors, image in black and white, color composition, and all of these. So maybe you guys want to discover or like explore all of these, so you guys can always go to this learn tab. Banyak sangat kat sini. So kadang I learn also a lot from these people as well. Okay. So and then if you go down there, I scroll down ke bawah lagi, so you can see I have like around 4,000 images that I already imported into this Lightroom. But of course, I'm gonna show you on how to import your own images. This is all of the data or information that I have of my own content or of my own photographs inside of this Lightroom CC. Yeah. And I don't know why I have like one deleted here. Okay, so under here you can see we have album. So the list of album, I've created a bunch of albums over here, but I'm just going to focus specifically to this Lightroom mobile over here. And beside albums, you guys can also create a folder. Okay, so some people in my case, I like to actually categorize my images based on folder first. Once I have one big folder, one main folder, and then I'm going to create sub albums inside. Example, I have one big folder called travel, and then I will have a few album based on the location where I traveled. Contoh, I have like Kashmir, I have like Jordan, Sabah, Sarawak. Nampak tak guna mana pun. Sedih. Tapi tak apalah. Okay, but of course you guys can always categorize it the way you guys prefer lah. But in my case, I like to always have one big folder, and then barulah I will add on a sub album inside. I think it's easier for me to manage lah. Some people, they like to create the album and rename it based on the dates. Actually, you don't have to. The reason why, whenever you import all of the images, the Lightroom also going to store all of the data. So example, kalau you import hari ni, diorang also akan import the data or metadata, we call it, of the images itself, where it is taken, who took that picture. I mean, sometimes some photographer diorang ada embed copyright, trademark, something lah inside of the images. They also have like macam like that picture has been taken using which gear, lens apa, semua data tu semua ada, because everything is electronic and digital right now, so it's easier for you to navigate and also sort and also filter your images based on that. So I don't know, for me, if for my own macam example, all of my folder that I have or project that I have in my PC, not just related to images, I will just rename it based on the dates and also months and years. But for this one, I prefer not to do. For album, I takut sebab dia dah ada data tu semua, so I just can filter it out je nanti if I need to find anything that I shoot on April. So I cari je April, macam tu lah. But it's up to you. So maybe you can have like one big folder. Maybe you can put like example, I already created one travel over here. Like see sample travel photos, I have one folder, so you just can create, like click and then create that folder. Maybe you want to put like 2021 folders. Maybe you have a vision, maybe you want to go somewhere, maybe you want to shoot something, maybe you have like a goal, like every month I want to shoot like 10 images. I'm going to edit and process that. So maybe you can put one big folder 2021, and then maybe you can have like sub album into it, such as contoh kat sini, you tekan je that big folder that you just created, and then inside that you can create album kat sini pun boleh. It's the same button over here. And then from this side, you guys can click create album. So maybe right now it's April, right? Maybe you want to have like Ramadan punya images. Oh, Ramadan kita start esok, so maybe I want to have like 30 images of the food that I'm going to serve and cook during Ramadan. Wow, that kind of commitment. Okay, inside, and then of course you can check this to put this album inside that folder of 2021 lah. Tapi kalau you tak nak, dia akan ada kat luar, macam tu. So I'm just gonna click that Ramadan. Okay, I don't know, I'm just like, we already Ramadan, yeah. Okay. Okay, under here, of course, you guys can add photos of images. You guys can click add photos over here, and then you can find lah from your images from your desktop. I have all of these images from my Jordan actually. So if I put here in the Ramadan, tak masuk lah pula kan. So I'm just going to add into different what do we call, different album. I have like these over here under sample photos. I have few of my shots So I have like Jordan shots, I have my Kashmir shots, I have my com, one of the this is actually when we went to Jordan for humanitarian mission as well. This is actually back in 2017, 18. Last time we went was end of 19, winter. Yeah, but I think we come back early Jan 2020. So maybe I already have like photos inside. Maybe I want to add more. So this is my album, right? So let's just add photos. We can browse over here. If you tekan add photos atas ni, you can also browse it, and you can add more images. Oh my god, I have a lot of images. I'm just gonna add random just to show you guys on how to add image. Let's just add this weird and awkward self of me. Okay, I don't know, I don't like this image, but never mind. I'm just okay. And then over here, if you click on choose folder, this is actually where you guys can choose as a whole. You nak choose the image from here also boleh. You nak choose contoh from that browser pun boleh. Macam tadi kan kita buka kat sini, dia akan browse kat sini, dia tak akan masuk. Tapi kalau tekan choose folder, dia akan buka the whole folder inside the Lightroom, so you guys can select from here also. Gitu. Okay? Okay. If you guys have any question, you guys are welcome to ask. I think, or maybe should we wait to the last session? Yeah, let's just do that. Oh, this is interesting. Let's just add to these two images. So I select these two images. You can select control on your keyboard to actually select one or two. But if you guys want to have like a range of selection, you guys can click on the shift key. So example, I have this one and then I press shift. So it's going to select from this image until the last image that I click on. So that one is range. If you select shift or press on the shift key, but if you select one by one, you not select satu and then like dua, that one you have to select using the control key. So I'm just selecting these two and I'm going to click on this review for import. So by default, it's going to tell you that, oh, this is the image that I just selected, and then I can add this to my folder of com over here. Where it is. There you go. We have this di tengah-tengah, because this one is actually sorted based on the date. So technically it's not based on your recent edit, but of course you can always filter it out based on what. Contoh nampak tak dekat sini we have line. Yeah, I think you guys can see that. We have capture date, so it based on the punya sorting to the based on the when I capture these images. That's why suddenly it is in the middle of this film strip, I would say. But if you select like import date based on today lah, because this is the latest import date. Modified date, if you do some changes such as I edit ke, I buat some exposure, adjustment, cropping ke, then dia akan update based on that recent adjustment. That's why it is called under modified. Or any modifications that you did, dia akan jadi recent, dia akan override lah. Based on the file name, up to you. Star rating, you can also put some star. Example, I say, oh, I love these images, I'm gonna put 5 star. All you're gonna do is just like press 5 on your keyboard, then you will have 5 star on your image. If I press 4 star, 3 star, then suka you lah. If you put 10 block. If you put 0, then you become like unstar, non-star kind of image. So this star thingy, this star system is actually beneficial, and some people, most of the photographer, they like to create a system from this starring practice. Example, contoh in my case, when I edit videos, edit images, example for weddings kan. So for 5 star is the image yang paling I suka. Contoh 4 star, 4 star image okay, but not the best. So maybe 3 star, this is the essential shot. Contoh essential shot ni macam contoh memang family shot ke, parents punya shot ke, shot yang penting lah. Yang ni kena ada, cantik ke tak cantik ke, memang kena ada this shot. Contoh. So you guys can categorize your star system based on you punya needs. So example, kalau you shoot wedding, you can have that kind of system lah. Example, if you shoot corporate ke, maybe you can have like 5-star for the full shot. Maybe you can have like 4-star for the head shot or hero shot for the macam-macam jenis shot. It's up to you. Okay. Alright. So I'm gonna go back to this image yang I tak edit lagi. Maybe we can just do some editing for these images. I think all of this, this one all I edit already. Okay, so I already import the images. I put inside of the folder, inside of the album, as you can see under com over here. So on the right side, hopefully you guys can see, I have all of these buttons. It's not actually too much compared to other software. I would say this is actually very simple. That's why I mentioned Lightroom CC is another simplified version of Lightroom Classic. If you guys familiar with Lightroom Classic, you guys will see there's a bunch of buttons and also features, sliders, dials that you guys can play with. Tu on the right side, tak campur lagi dekat atas tu. On the left side, so there are more. But of course, with more features, with more controls, you guys have more control and also adjustment that you guys can do lah towards the images. So yang ni, Lightroom CC is another simplified version of it. So it doesn't mean that you guys cannot do the work. You guys can still deliver the work. It's just like simplified version of it. So you guys can do things faster actually kat sini. Yeah, I would say that. So if you guys click on this, like that button is actually for adjustment, or we call it edit. So under here, you guys can see the first thing you guys can see is auto. So some people, they just don't know how to touch on the slider first. They'll be like, pening lah, I'm not sure if I should touch on exposure first, contrast first, or shadow first. I don't even know if I adjust this, what kind of adjustment or perubahan, the difference that it's gonna make to my image, right? So in case you guys are confused with this kind of slider, with all of these sliders, you guys are welcome to just try to use the auto button over here. This is like a life-saving, I would say. It's not life-changing because it will not change your life in a way, but it's gonna save your life, I would say. If you click over there, it's going to try to adjust your image accordingly. So the moment I press auto, let me just undo so that you guys can see and catch it. So as you can see now, this is by default, no adjustment at all. All of my sliders and dial is all at the same place. If I press auto, you can see it adjusts my sliders automatically. So auto stands for automatically lah. So technically, you guys are telling the Lightroom, please, can you please automatically adjust my image or edit my image? So this is what the button did. All right. So over here, by default, it's going to adjust. Actually, this image is already that okay. The segi exposure, it's nice. It's not too bright. It's not too dark. In terms of white balancing, in terms of color, you guys can see the white color properly. You guys can see the pink color. You guys can see the brown color nicely. Honestly, this image is evenly saturated. I would say evenly colored, nicely exposed. So that's why when I select auto, it really didn't give me so much difference from my previous. All right. So can you guys see my button? Let me just adjust. So this like one small button here where you guys can adjust and to see the before and after. See, this is the original, showing original. This is after some edits. It does not really give you any difference, I would say, because as I mentioned, the original image is already is well exposed and well colored and so on. So not so much a big deal. So that's why this Lightroom CC is actually suitable for those who just want to have a fast edit, simple edits without heavy adjustments, such as macam nak kena do a lot of modification or adjustment so much lah. So this is very easy. So over here, you guys can see, if I ke bawah lagi, I scroll down, you can also adjust the colors over here. Maybe you feel like okay, let's see, let's try the next image because I want to show how can we play with the sky. So I select this because this one sky tak nampak sangat, but you can see variant of color over here, which is nice. So example, this sky, right? I go back to the second image and then I can press auto again to see, and then you can see it add a little bit of contrast and also tone down my highlights. Highlights over here is actually the bright side, the bright entity that you can see in your image. Okay, shadow is actually the dark, the shadow part, the shadowy part yang terlindung. That one is actually the darker part. White is actually adjusting anything that you like the white-ish of that image. The black is the most darker, or like the black color of that image. For example, if you have any pants or baju over here, all of that. So here, did I adjust your contrast and exposure? I think it's nice. If you want to have like more brighter image, you can always adjust the exposure. More you slide up the exposure, you can see the value is increasing. Once the value increased, this is when your exposure, meaning the amount of this image has been exposed, it's brighter. Exposure ni by default, if you guys are into photography, example you guys pakai film camera, technically we don't have digital, we cannot actually add exposure. We have like exposure stop and stuff, right? It's something that you guys can modify lah in the camera, but here we modify in post. Okay, original one more dot. Yes. Okay, Aaron Razis tanya macam mana nak main dengan curve. Interesting. Let's play with curve. So if I click on over here side, I have curves. So curve ni, you guys normally we will see around like 4 lah. Satu is RGB curve, which is red, green, and blue. And then they're also gonna have like pecah-pecah, one red curve, one green curve, one blue curve. Yang satu ni, yang putih ni is actually the mix of all of these three. So example, if you touch on the curve, the white curve over here is actually going to kacau and touch and modify these three colors all together. Red, green, and blue. Okay. So example, if I just want to touch the green color, which is you can see kita ada macam taman ke tu, maybe lah. I think rumput. Okay, rumput. We have grass over there. So I click on this green because I want to touch and see if I can edit this green color. I click on the green curve instead of click on the white, or we call it RGB curve, because RGB curve is like combination of these three. Okay. I go to this green, and then if I touch a bit, you can see it makes my image greener. So technically what this curve means, like if you want to have more greenish vibe into your image, you can play with the green curve. If you want to tone down the green vibe or green color that in your image, you can tarik dia ke bawah, so that it's going to go to the opposite color, which is magenta. So you have less green but more magenta-ish color a bit. This actually gives you the color of exposure of the whole curve lah. So one thing about curve, atas is actually the highlight part yang cerah. If you tarik ke atas, dia akan brighten up. If you tarik ke bawah, it's actually for shadow punya part. Contoh, if I tarik the green color dekat atas, meaning for the highlight part of the image, I want to make it greenish. So, I tarik atas. If I say for the shadow part of this image, I want to make it magenta-ish, I tarik dia ke bawah. So, dia takkan kacau I punya highlight, but dia akan kacau I punya shadow. Your curves, atas for highlights, bawah for shadow. So, if I go back to original curve, which is RGB curve, if I tarik atas, it makes my image brighter. If I tarik dia ke bawah, it makes my image, nampak tak shadow dia jadi contrasty betul-betul. Dia tak kacau highlight I. Highlight I stay. But then I punya shadow part, yang tu dia kacau. Because I play with the curve kat bawah. Apa ni? Reply to Amy. What's happening? Hi, we can see more people coming in. Alphonsus Zakaria is watching. Hi, Muhammad Khairi Ismail just joined us. Thank you so much for joining. So, do I like Aaron? I was asking Aaron Razis. So, you get the points over here on how to play with the curves. So, some photographer they like to play with S curve. So, normally sometimes bila orang start edit, orang terus jump to curve. It's actually based on your style of editing. I cannot say, and I will never say. Or maybe I just simply cannot say that, oh, it's wrong to do this and that. It's actually based on your practice and your workflow. There are times when I see an image, I just jump right into curves. There are times when I see an image, I will play with the slider that I have under here first. It's actually based on how you took the shot. That's why if you are a photographer of that shot, you will understand your shots and you will understand what to be adjusted, because you were there in the location when you shoot that thing. You know the actual color of the sky, you know the actual color of the sun. Maybe it's too warmy or it's just like less warm, that kind of things. So you can apply any kind of edits to make sure it's either mimic the actual environment, or you just want to like have your own vibe or your own color. It's up to you. These tools just gonna help you to play and give your imaginations or your visuals come to life based on how you want it. So yeah. Alright, so some photographers, they like to play with the curves first, and they always have like S curve. It depends. There are times when my images will become S curve. There are times when I actually have it less contrasty. I'm not a big fan of contrasty images. I like to have it slightly subtle, but not too dreamy. Just like subtle, but not too contrasty like this. But so that's why I mentioned it depends on your style of your edits lah, I would say. Direct edit bahagian color. Okay, untuk color, okay, normally I will play with the temperature first. The temperature is very important because as I mentioned, if I know when I shot this, oh, it's actually blazing hot, actually memang betul-betul panas, so I tahu the color is actually memang kuning, contoh. Okay, so when I capture the camera, maybe masa you shoot the camera, you already adjust your balance, your white balance in your camera. So even though your eyes is seeing a warmy color environment, tapi your camera you dah setting, you make it less warm because you dah adjust manually. Dan bila di capture, dia takkan dapat pewarna warm macam ni. And maybe masa you edit, you rasa like, oh, I wanna give back or get back the actual vibe that I had, which is like blazing hot, all of that. So I wanna have like add on the temperature again, so you guys can still have or add on benda tu. So when it comes to color, I will play with this first. The curves is actually sebenarnya curve bagi I lah. My own workflow curve adalah benda yang I touch last kali. Sometimes I don't even touch it. I don't know, it's just like, bila example, if I see an image yang memang I have to color correct properly, or if I feel like memang there's like certain vibe that I'm going for, then I will mic or touch these curves. But normally I'm just gonna touch at like this RGB curves, but not one by one punya curve, unless if I did some adjustment on the colors already, but my colors tak bagi I actual color. Contoh skin color I still lari ke my object punya baju lain ke, then maybe I'll touch on the curves. But it depends. That's why I mentioned it depends on the way you took the images. It depends on the image or photos that you guys are editing at the moment. And as I mentioned, sometimes I do this part first, then I go down. There are times when I go down first and I come back up here. So it depends on your punya style, I would say. There's no specific, because I cannot say which one the best for you, because I did not see your images, or I didn't see how you shoot your shot. I didn't know which gears or camera that you use, your settings, all of that. There's a lot of factors that's going to contribute to how the end product gonna looks like. Nice sharing, Azura. So Azura is actually looking at this side because my phone is here, even though I can see the comment side on the left side. Azura was mentioning they suka edit on the curve first, and then baru they go down to the contrast and brightness. Exactly. That's why I mentioned it's up to you guys, and also depends on your image and your gears. There's no specific lah, I would say. I cannot just simply say, oh, this is the first step. Macam pun memang kena start macam ni. I cannot say that because no size fits all. Alright, maybe this is my way, based on my way of shooting. Maybe yours is different. So here, if you see, there's one small button that actually allows you to pick area yang you nak white balance kan, tapi image ni dah already macam white balance properly, so kalau I tekan pun tak nampak beza. but you can play around with this one. So dia akan add macam curve points over here based on the color yang dia pick up from whatever that you guys are clicking over there. Okay, point curve. Oops. Let me just, okay, example, if I did some terrible things to the curve and you can see, oh my god, what happened to my image? I want to go back. So you can just simply right click on it and then reset all channels so they can go back to original curves. There's nothing wrong with playing with the curves. You guys can always experiment that. Hi Dolly, Dolly is watching. Guna Lightroom mobile. Oh, okay. Lightroom mobile, okay. Sama je macam you can see the same thing like mine, I guess. Tak beza sangat pun. Kenapa punya screen ke atas? Oh, okay. So down there, you guys can play with the temperature and all. Alright, vibrance and saturation. Normally, I don't really play with vibrance saturation because I think normally my camera already capture the right colors unless kalau memang I punya self edit, I nak dia betul-betul highlight. Normally, I will play with this kalau I shoot product lah, I would say. Sebab kadang-kadang produk, when you shoot with a lot of lightings, dia akan kurangkan the macam the saturation of that contoh kotak produk, dia akan jadi macam too bright, you know. So dia tak match with actual kotak. So you have to be careful on that when you shoot product because you cannot fake it. Because product, it should be how you shoot it, exactly how people see it. Okay, kalau boleh jangan manipulate the actual image lah. So that dia tak jadi macam false marketing, I would say. I don't know. I think people who is in marketing knows better lah. But in my case, if I shoot product as a photographer, I always make sure that the actual result, the actual color of the product, kotak ke apa, is exactly the same with actual. Kalau tak pun dia tak lari sangat. Dia, of course lah, you tak boleh dapat exactly the same because your eyes mungkin nampak in a room yang dim, yang gelap. But when you shoot, kotak tu dah di-expose with lights. So of course you will see slightly different. But at least dia punya tone tu tak lari. Kan tiba hijau jadi biru kan, macam tu lah. I like to play with color mixer and grading sebenarnya. This color grading is actually diorang introduced I think last year if I'm not mistaken. This is actually quite interesting. I like to play with this a lot when I try to add vibes into my image. Color mixer, okay. Let's go to this one first. Color mixer is a place, example, if you want to touch on a specific color. As you can see, I have like this red macam tudung over here. Then I can reduce if I feel like, oh, that red is too bright. I don't want to have any red color in my image. So you guys can simply go to this color mixer, find, we have like hue, color, saturation, luminance. You can find that specific color and then you can reduce the color, only that color. So if you touch on the red slider, it's going to touch on the red color je lah. So this one is very specific. So example, you tak sure hijau ni kuning ke hijau because you can see we have two slider here, yellow and also green. You guys can click on this target ni. This targeting, this target button and this target adjustment. Sorry, target adjustment. If you click, you boleh tekan sini dan dia akan pick that color. So here you can see, once you click, you can see tak dia punya slider tu akan blip, show that this color tone is actually falls under yellow. So if I touch on the yellow, see it tone down only that rumput, that grass. Tapi yang lain semua kulit orang, semua tak kacau sebab kulit orang this person punya skin color falls under orange. That's why it will not crossing the sliders of the color. Alright, and then that's under colors, and then the color mixer. Color grading, you guys can actually play with. Color grading is actually based on three tones of color: mid-tones, highlights, and also shadows. So you guys can adjust lah. Kalau I nak more 4D, this one is actually mid-tones. Mid-tone is actually color between cerah sangat and gelap sangat. Highlight is color yang paling cerah, shadow is color yang paling gelap lah. So mid-tone di tengah-tengah. So, normally mid-tones falls under people punya skin normally lah. Sebab skin kita kadang tak adalah macam terlampau gelap in that out of the image. Kadang kita punya skin color bukan not the paling darkest and sometimes not the lightest object in the image. So dia akan falls under mid-tones sebab dia tengah-tengah. So you can play with this. Yeah, all of that. You can play with the blending if you want. So example, the sky I want to make the sky bluer. So I'm just going to go to the mixer and touch the sky. Oh, sorry. Go to the target, click on the target or the touch on blue. So I'm going to increase the blueness of the image. Cha-chang. Yeah. Maybe I want to add some more a bit. See, sometimes I will adjust the color first and I will come back up. So it depends on your ways of doing that. Effects, texture is if you want to actually emphasize certain texture that you can see. Clarity is like dia akan add depth, kedalaman sikit. Dia akan play with shadows and lights actually. Clarity. This is dehaze. You can play with that. So you can see the detail of the clouds even more, which is nice. Sharpening the details, you guys can also increase the sharpness. But I think this image is already sharp, so I don't have to overdoing it. Optics over here. Oh, you can't see. Let me just move. Optic over here, in case if you guys are using any specific lens with distortion. So dia akan keluar macam ni lah. So kat sini lens ni, nampak tak? Lens ni dia ada macam lens, dia ada distort sikit kat sini. So if I click enable lens correction, dia akan fix. This is actually the data, how they know which one to fix or not. Example, if you guys, I think this image is in raw. Is it? Should be, because I have all of the data here. That's why they can fix it. Oh, this is the JPEG. Sorry. So here you can see this what do we call lens used is actually 50mm 1.4 Canon lens. Geometry, but this one I don't have to fix the geometry because the image is not saying it, or like, you know, different perspective, so I'm just gonna leave it. All right, so let's see the before and after. So this is like before, which is quite fade, but if you add on more colors, you will have more brighter images. You highlight the most important things, as you can see. Do you notice that we have this dot? This is actually a dots coming, not UFO, not alien, okay? This is actually dots coming from my lens, because I didn't cuci my lens when I was like shooting this, because this one is actually quite hazy. Dia macam banyak habuk sikit. So tak perasan with these dots. So I'm going to use this healing brush over here that we have inside the Lightroom as well, to remove or heal the part that needs to be healed. Anything that broken can be fixed, see, except your heart. Kidding. We can still fix our heart. Okay, I'm just gonna click over here. See, it heals. So when it comes to healing, you guys can pick to clone or heal. Most of the time, I think clone works better. Sometimes healing pun dah boleh do the work. So you guys can pick lah, yang mana you guys prefer. So let me just press enter and then zoom out, so you can see my dots are all gone. These dots over here. This one, I tak tahu lah ni UFO ke, memang UFO betul ke I punya gambar, I punya lens macam UFO betul. Tak tahu, kidding. But example, if I don't like it, let's move it. Let's remove that. Hilang. Maybe ada sampah ha. Ni mulalah semua nak sapu ni. Sekejap. Wait, why is feather E? Let me just try to remove that, and then try to adjust this. Okay, better now. Yeah, should be fine. All right. So example, you're done with that. So this is actually your edit. So I just want to go to show you some of the preset that we can actually apply. Technically inside of the Lightroom, we also have preset that you guys can play with. Let me go to preset over here. So I have this preset. If you click on this drop down, nampak tak? Alah, nampak kan? Sini. So that preset is actually a place where you guys can adjust your colors if you already have a specific colors with you. So example, I have a preset here. I have few presets, so I can just simply apply any colors that I have. This is actually one of my collections that I created. Oh, I love this one. It gives me vibe macam filmscape. So let's try to use this one. This is actually the color that we adjust. So let's create a version. If you click on the next to the preset, we have versions, right? So if I click over there, it's going to actually create one version. So let's create a version called edit. So this is original, this is edit. So go back to original. I'm going to apply the preset now that I have. So I apply this preset. I go back to my version and I create one more called presets, so we can see the difference. So I have 3 versions with me. The first one, original, edit, the one that we just play with the curves, and this one is the preset, which is I already cook on my own, and you can see the difference of the color. Well, I like the preset more. And one thing with the preset, right, you can always adjust it. Example, I feel like this is like too blue-ish. Can I have more warmth to this image? Of course you can. So I'm just gonna, sorry, why I keep on bumping on my mic? Oh. Okay. So I can just simply add more warmth to this image to have more warmy effect. Something like that. Okay, so if I like how I did, maybe this is the end product that I want to have. So I can just simply click on the share up here. And then I can export. So you can export as few sizes. We have JPEG small, 90% quality, not 100%, or full size, 100% quality based on the actual size. I think this one is actually quite big. So example, if I pick JPEG large, so I'm just going to put, should I put on my desktop? Where's my desktop? Okay. Okay. So I'm just gonna put, yeah, put here. And let's see where we edit. And save. Pictures. Desktop, ya Allah. Okay. So we have this image. So actually it's quite sharp. Okay. Alright, so I think it's time for me to just like play with the maybe if you guys have any questions before we end our session. It's already like 10, 11. So I'm just going to open the floor to any questions that you guys have. Anyone want to ask questions? So hopefully everyone enjoyed the workshop. I know it's a short one, but I hope you guys can catch a few things, maybe learn a few stuff tonight, I would say. And thank you so much those who joined this workshop. I really appreciate your time. I know it's the first, it's not first one. It's actually first Ramadan after Maghrib just now. Tapi esok will be the first day lah untuk kita puasa. So berkesempatan ini, I would like to wish all of you selamat berpuasa to all the Muslims around the world. Selamat beribadah, I would say, and also hopefully we will gain a lot of amazing things, barakah for this Ramadan. Hopefully we also boleh, increase our iman and also level of we do ibadah from the previous years, I would say. Okay, so I really would like to macam mendoakan lah supaya all of us will have a blessed Ramadan in the midst of this pandemic. I know everyone is like having a tough time away from the family. I myself away from my families. So hopefully lah ada cahaya, ada sinar. Maybe you can go back to Raya. If tak ada pun tak apa. So hopefully we can learn on how to be strong away from the families, and hopefully everyone will gain so much strength during this Ramadan untuk beribadah and also kuatkan semangat, I would say. And hopefully I really pray for everyone able to go back to their families during Raya. Of course, I know some of you maybe has been away for too long or alone for quite some time, so hopefully jagalah diri masing-masing. Okay. If me, I have a lot of questions for Adobe Illustrator. Buat live masa raya. Buat live masa raya nanti saya makan biskut raya. Boleh ke? Oh, but before that, before you guys go, before I end this workshop, I would like to also mention that I have this weekly webinar if you guys want to join. Because technically this week on this Saturday we have I have like another webinar for Lightroom Classic. So today kita dah touch on Lightroom CC kan. So maybe in upcoming week, maybe I want to do different thing, which is maybe Adobe Rush ke. We'll see first. Because this live workshop will be in weekly basis. Kita ada every Monday 9 to 10. Okay, so but this one weekly webinar is a different thing. This one is in case like if you guys want to learn more about Lightroom Classic, you guys are welcome to join this webinar. I have this on this, what do we call, Saturday. So siapa-siapa boleh je lah nak ni, nak apa, did I post twice, sorry. So if you guys want to join, we have a webinar for Lightroom Classic this week, and then upcoming week we also have edit video with Premiere Adobe Rush. But I think we also gonna keep on updating you guys with the next session on next Monday about on the tajuk of things that we're gonna go. Maybe some of you were asking about the illustrators. Maybe you're gonna do that. We'll see first. Okay. All right. So I guess if you guys have no question, I think you guys have no questions over here. Thank you. Okay, thank you Azra, selamat berpuasa juga. Hopefully you also enjoy the session. Okay. So I guess that's all from me. I really appreciate your time, and everyone, selamat berpuasa and selamat beribadah, and see you guys in my next stream next week Monday, inshallah, the same time, the same place. So hopefully everyone can join me again. So again, my name is Najla. That's it for my session. Okay, so see you guys next week. Okay, Assalamualaikum.